Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Olympic bronze medalist Lauren Sesselmann. Lauren, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Lauren, the name of the game is really random. That's where I ask you a random question and you give me the real answer. Some of these questions are custom made just for you, and some of these questions are generic ones that I ask all the people I interview. So, here's the first question. Superpower you'd love to have?
I would love to be able to transport, anywhere in the world. So, I'm feeling like going on vacation. Bam. Time travel, transport, I'm there on a beach.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? It's kind of cliche, but How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I really love romantic comedies. So, yeah, I would have to say that.
Favorite color?
Favorite color? I love pink. I'm such a girl.
Favorite guilty pleasure?
Favorite guilty pleasure would have to be... Ooh, that's a good one. I guess it would be more eating brownies and stuff like that, just because I'm not really allowed to, and I know that's not really a guilty pleasure, but for me it kind of is.
Lauren, I'm a huge fan of the web series you're on, Soccer and Drinks. I absolutely love this show. I think it's a great show. It's very funny. I thought you were spectacular in the first season. I was very impressed with your acting ability, so much so that I remember watching the show and forgetting that it was you. I remember watching the show and saying to myself, who's this girl who's playing Ashley? So I remember going to IMDb and midway through searching for you, I remember saying to myself, oh my God, you're an idiot. What are you doing? You know who this is. You know this is Lauren Sesselmann, the soccer player. So I was very impressed with you on that show. And besides being very impressed with your acting ability, I was also saying to myself as I was watching this show that I can't believe a network hasn't put this on television. I can't believe that this show isn't on TV. It's very good. It's a unique concept. It's a sports comedy. It's perfect for TV, but my question to you is, will we be getting a season 2? And if so, will it be on a bigger distribution platform?
Yes. I mean, that's definitely our plan. That was kind of our plan from day one. We kind of had to test the waters first to see if a show like that would actually work, because it's different. So initially they wanted to use men, and then they were like, well, with all the stuff going on with the U.S. national team, everyone fighting for equal pay, and all the other things going along with just women's sports in general, they were like, no, let's change the game here, and let's put females on there as the lead characters, and kind of bring up some issues that people are a little bit afraid to talk about, but have fun with it. So how do you mix kind of the serious issues with the comedy? So we were kind of just working and feeling that out to see if people were receptive to it. And then, our goal is obviously season 2. I just talked to the director the other day, because there's so much that you can do with this show, and there's so much more, even with my character, that I want to do. So we've been giving him a lot of creative ideas. So once we figure out what network, he said there's a lot of interest, so hopefully that happens soon.
On the show, you play Ashley, a former pro soccer player from Canada. Now, some people would look at the similarities between you and your character and say to themselves, well, they just wrote that part for her. That's how she got the job. But that isn't true. You actually did have to audition for the part. So what was that process like, and how did you get the role? They actually had a role that was a Canadian soccer player, and I was like, hey, this is very fitting for me. I just want to, kind of give my shot and see, if I'm good enough to be a part of it, because, I'm just starting out acting, and, it's not easy. So the director has known me through a couple other projects that I did with this other lady who's actually my business partner. She does a lot of feature films, more horror genre, so I acted in one of her feature films, and he loved what I did, and so he was like, hey, can Lauren come in when she's in LA and let me sit down with her and have her just run some lines and see if she kind of just, is ready for this part. And so that's exactly what I did. I went in there, and then I told him where I saw my character going, what I want to do with her in future episodes. And I said,
there's just so much more you can do with this script, because since I was going to be more the only athlete that would be in, the group of actors, he really wanted to get my input and my take on how to really do the soccer scene, set up the choreography, all that kind of fun stuff. So it was good for me because I got to do wear many different hats in it. And, obviously anything with soccer is going to be awesome.
In real life, how are you similar and how are you different from Ashley, the character you play on Soccer and Drinks?
Well, obviously, they have Ashley being this rough and tough Canadian. She's very reserved. She doesn't really speak her mind a lot. She doesn't really do much, and that's a little bit opposite of me. For me, I'm a leader. Usually when I'm out there playing, I'm not very quiet. I'm a huge goofball. So I was hoping we bring that out of Ashley a little bit more in the second season, and I think that's what you're going to see. But obviously, you got the soccer part right, because I wanted to be the rough and tough one out there, and so yeah, they hit that dead on with that one. But I would say I'm more of a goofball than she is.
On this show, all the time is spent in two places: the field and the bar. When you're inside the bar, how realistic are the conversations you're having with the other girls? In real life, are you talking about similar topics with, let's say, your teammates? How realistic is this show?
I think it's pretty similar because, when we're surrounded by our teammates 24/7, basically, so they're our best friends. So you're basically hanging out with them in every situation. So you're talking about family, you're talking about boys, you're talking about love, you're talking about soccer, you're talking about everything under the sun. So it pretty, much mimics, real life. And, it's just a bunch of friends hanging out at a bar talking about certain things and, mostly boys. So it's pretty spot on.
What are you drinking when you're in the bar? Is that real beer?
No. They had apple juice.
Okay, I was just checking.
We were filming at 1 a.m. in the morning, so...
I didn't think that it was real beer, but I wasn't sure because there's a movie with Olivia Wilde and Anna Kendrick that came out in 2013 called Drinking Buddies. And in that movie, they really did drink real beer, so I wasn't sure, so I had to ask, just in case maybe you'd surprise me. Now, because the episodes are short, they're only about 4 to 5 minutes in length, how long does it take to film an episode of the show?
Oh man, we filmed 4 episodes in a matter of 2 days it was. So we went pretty fast with this. It just kind of depends on what it entails, what kind of stuff you have to do, if you have to do any stunt work or anything. So the soccer scenes are what took the longest, just to get because I had to teach some of the actors some of the moves, and we just had to make sure that it looked like we were really playing. Because what I really wanted to make sure it looked like is that this was real legit girls playing well. Because sometimes in some sports movies you have some girls that it just doesn't look legit. So that was the number one thing I wanted to do. So I wanted to make sure our scenes were good. And most of these girls have played soccer before, so it was super easy to work with a lot of these girls. And we just had so much fun.
Now, in episode 3, was that an Alex Morgan reference? Because in the episode, you're watching TV and you're talking about someone in Sports Illustrated in body paint. And in 2012, Alex Morgan was in Sports Illustrated in body paint. So was that supposed to be a reference to her?
No, we were just talking about, because, people are always talking about females in sports. They're always talking about what they look like more so than what they actually do, on the field and stuff like that. And I think, Sports Illustrated does everything so tasteful, and it's really cool to see a lot of the soccer girls that have done it and other athletes that have done it, the gymnasts that have done it this year, Serena, everybody. So I think they do a really good job of showing off the female body in a respectful way.
You recently started a new chapter in your life. You made the move out to LA so you could further pursue your acting career. But what's next for you? Because in my opinion, the two things that you should do next, the two things that make the most sense are, one, a musical, because I've heard you sing and I've seen you dance and I know you grew up doing them, so that would make a lot of sense. And then the second thing, and this probably makes even more sense than that, is I think you should be in a Lifetime original movie, because the NWSL just signed that deal with Lifetime, and they're going to be showing live games on that channel. So who better than you to be put in a Lifetime original movie, because you played in the NWSL and now you're acting, so it's perfect cross-promotion to have you in a Lifetime original movie. So that's just my opinion, but what's next for you? What's in the works now? What's next for your acting career?
You know, I'd have to say that would be my guilty pleasure, is watching the Lifetime Movie Network. It's kind of funny. I love that network. You know, they do a lot of great stuff on there, and it's really evolving, that channel. So, you know, that would definitely be a goal. You know, I have a lot of different things I want to do. I'm a very creative and a very passionate person. I came out here, obviously, to do some more acting because I really love it. I would love to do anything that I can get my hands on. You know, I love comedy. I love doing, like, improv stuff, so that'd be kind of just something fun for me. Sports movies would be right up my alley. So I came out here to do some sports marketing, or I mean, not sports marketing, sports broadcasting, sorry. So I had some interviews. So, you know, ideally I would like to, you know, be in front of the camera talking about my, you know, my favorite sport, soccer, or any other sport. And so that's definitely a goal. And, you know, just kind of coach. I really enjoy the coaching, and I'm actually playing on a team this summer just for fun. And so I'm hoping that they can, like, grow the game out here in LA and potentially get another pro team here. So, yeah, I mean, those are the things I'm kind of focusing on. And there's another things. Obviously, my fitness company is growing quickly, and we're having a lot of fun with that. So I do some of the training on the side. But, you know, I really love being in front of the camera and just, you know, playing different characters and just laughing and being myself and, you know, letting my personality shine. So that's definitely the goal out here.
I'm very impressed with your acting ability. I had seen you act before. I had seen you in a movie called Dark Awakening, but this time around you were doing comedy, and comedy can be very tough to pull off if you don't have good timing, and your comedic timing was excellent in this show, so I was really impressed with that. Plus, the camera loves you. Wherever you go, the camera follows. You definitely have that it factor. We don't exactly know what it is, but you've got it. And we're due to have a female athlete cross over and get into movies. We've seen male athletes come over from whatever sport they were playing and come over and have a career in movies, but we haven't seen very many women come over from sports to have an acting career, and I definitely think that you could be that face of female athletes coming in to movies, because I was just so impressed with what you were doing. But was this always a passion of yours? Is this always something you saw yourself doing? Did you always have the acting bug?
Well, like growing up, I did musicals, and I had so much fun doing that. You know, ideally when I was young, besides soccer was always my number one dream, but to be on Broadway, because I just love that. Broadway's like my favorite thing. And I didn't really have the acting bug until I kind of met my business partner. She's a huge soccer fan. Been watching women's soccer forever, and we just became instant friends. And she has a production company. She does movies. She does all this stuff. And she's like, Lauren, she's like, if you want to do this, I can help mold you into, you know, an actress, and you can be part of this. You can learn the production side. You can learn everything if this is something you'd be interested in doing. I said, you know what? Like, why don't I give it a shot? You know, I love being on camera. So I auditioned for her. I did a couple projects for her, a couple sizzle reels, and it just grew on me. Like, I loved it so much. Like, I got to play different people all the time, and I'm learning from these other actors, and I just see how passionate they are and how they come to life on screen. And, like, when you're there, like, the really behind the scenes of the whole movie making is pretty special to see. And then you see the finished product, and you're like, wow, we created that. Like, it's just such a great feeling. So for me, it just kind of, like, was an opportunity that presented itself. I took it, and now I've fallen in love with it. And so now I'm, like, willing to go audition for anything. So I want to, like, try different roles. I want to try different things. I want to have more emotion in things. I want to do some crying scenes, some scary scenes, you know. Just kind of test and see what I can do. So
Liliana Klingman is your business partner in Fit as a Pro, your fitness company. what do you think your life looks like right now if you never started working with her? Because obviously your soccer career is winding down. Because of injuries, it's been a long time since we've seen you out on the pitch. Actually, the last time we saw you play in a game was back in the 2015 World Cup. So it's been a minute since we've seen you in action. And now you have all this stuff going on outside of soccer. You have Fit as a Pro, you have your acting career, you have all this different stuff, and a lot of that came from meeting her. So what do you think your life looks like right now if you never met her?
I obviously wanted to keep playing soccer. It's just, with hurting my knee and, everyone going to the younger generations and us we really don't make any money. I mean, to be honest, at my age, it's like, hey, do you keep making no money or do you start growing this off the field thing? So I definitely don't think I would be where I'm at without her. She's definitely given me every opportunity and stepping stone to get out there, in front of the camera. And, she's helped me with getting the acting classes and everything. Like, she wants to help me grow to be the star that I would love to be, and I'm so fortunate that I met her. So I think if I didn't meet her, obviously I wouldn't have been probably doing any of that stuff because it really wasn't in my mind. It was more like the fitness modeling and playing soccer was really just my focus. And then when she came along, she's the one that helped me grow and start my fitness company. And that's basically how I started making money on the side while playing soccer. So I would have had to probably quit soccer a lot sooner, if I didn't meet her. So I'm very thankful for that and thankful that I got to play 10, 11 years playing pro is pretty sensational, and I'm very proud of everything that I accomplished. And I'm not even sure that window or that door is closed right now. I've been training like crazy. I'm going to play on this team this summer, and while I work out here, and you never know what's going to happen.
Lauren, one thing that I've always wanted to ask you about is your quote. The quote is, "Everyone is an athlete in their own way." What do you mean by that? Explain. How so?
The thing is, everyone's got different skill sets, and all you have to do is go out there and start moving. You may not be like the most athletic, but it doesn't matter. You can move, and there's always different ways that you can work out, that you can train. So I say everyone's an athlete because you are. If you're walking, you can be a pro walker, and you're an athlete, So I think just using those skill sets and believing in yourself and having confidence. And, as an athlete, the athlete mentality is going out there, working hard, being determined and setting goals for yourself. So it's the same thing in anything you do in a daily job. So, like, you could take somebody that's never worked out, a day in their life, and you tell them, hey, if this is what you want to accomplish, you do these things, and look they have that athlete mentality, and they go out there and they accomplish them, and, things happen. So that's what I mean by saying, everyone's an athlete. You just need to bring it out of yourself.
Will the Fit as a Pro blog be making a comeback? Because I really enjoyed all your posts, and it hasn't been updated since March 10th, 2016. So will the Fit as a Pro blog be making a return?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing, my own personal website, too, and everything's going to be kind of just revamped. We have a ton of new programs coming out. I had to take a back seat on a few things, only for when I was playing soccer, because that was my number one focus, and I was always in camp. So the blog will be coming back. I have tons of new recipes. Everyone can follow along, on our Facebook and, all our and Instagram and stuff. We do post a lot of recipes on there, but the blog is definitely, I have a lot of ideas for that. So once my personal website's back up, it's going to be kind of like this whole big thing. So, yeah, there'll be a lot of great stuff coming.
I know right now you're working on a clothing line, so when will the line be released, and does it have a name yet?
The name is the hardest thing, so we do not have a name. We have a lot of ideas, and we're just narrowing down the name. It is a process. We thought it would be out this year or this spring, but it's been a process because you have to get investors involved. Just to make the pieces, it's very expensive. So you have to make sure you're getting the right investors involved that want to, partake in it. So we have all of our pitch. We have all of our everything planned out, what we want to make and create. So that is our plan. So we're just trying to figure out if we're just going to come out with our own right away or if we're going to collaborate with another clothing line and do my own capsule collection first and then do my own thing in the future. So we're working diligently on that. It's something I think about every day, and I make little notes here and there when I see something. Oh, I'm like, I love this, but if you could put it with this, I'm like, oh, and then, I'm constantly working out. So there's things that I love, and there's things that I really don't like from a lot of clothing lines. So, I have a lot of ideas. So it's definitely in the process, and I have the right people behind me right now. So that took some time, and so it should be coming in the next, either at the end of this year or next year release.
What kind of line is it going to be? Is it going to be workout clothing to go with Fit as a Pro?
It's going to be kind of a mixture. It's going to be an athleisure line. That's definitely what I love, because for me, I'm constantly in workout clothes. So I want something that's going to be able to go from the gym, that's great comfort, it fits right, to a meeting afterwards that I can throw on another piece that makes me kind of like step up my game a little bit to going out at night. So, that's a huge craze right now. Streetwear, athleisure wear. Like, when I'm out here in LA, that's pretty much what everybody wears. And you can make something look, just va-va-boom, by adding a certain piece. So that's kind of our goal.
After almost 2 years away from the sport, you're going to be returning to the pitch. This season, you're going to be playing for SC Blue Heat. How did this deal all come together? Because obviously this is a great situation for you, because not only are you able to keep playing, but because of the location of this team, you're also able to continue to pursue your acting career. So it's an excellent situation for you to be in. But how did this deal all come together with SC Blue Heat?
Well, I knew that a couple of my old teammates actually were out here playing. It used to be like the Pally Blues, and then they changed the league name. And so I wrote to one of my friends, and I was like, hey, are you still playing on this team? I'm not ready to be done with soccer, and I'm out here working, but I would still love to play. Like, what's the options? Do you know? Are you still playing? And she was like, yeah, this is the team I'm playing for. We won the championship last year. We're really good. We have a strong team. It's a mixture of players who used to play, and then there's a mixture of, like, college players. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The coach, Carlos, he's the owner. He is incredible, like, just so passionate about, growing the game. He's just going to be a great mentor and a great coach to hang out with. So he was just kind of like, hey, we would love to have you. Like, you're just a great player. You're a great person, and we want to really help grow the game here, and you'd be perfect fit for this. And I'm like, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. So he could have very much easily said no, like, you're washed up or something like that. I don't know. And he was very welcoming, and so I'm really excited. We get to travel. We're going to Calgary, so my Canadian fans should be happy about that. And so it's going to be an exciting summer.
Playing for SC Blue Heat at this point in your life and in your career is probably the best situation for you, because you're getting to kill two birds with one stone. You're getting to play soccer again, and because of the location of the club, you're able to pursue your acting career. So it's a perfect spot for you to be in. But I can't believe that not one NWSL team decided to bring you in, because I watch all the games. Every weekend I watch all the games. I've seen it all. I know that there's a handful of teams right now that you could help out. Did you get any offers from any of the teams in the NWSL?
I kind of went through a little phase like last summer where it was like, what do I do? Do I play? Like, I went to preseason last year, and something had happened. I'd rather not talk about it because I don't particularly care for the way things have gone on in our league, and there's a lot of things that need to be changed. And that's why I want to help this league, because I think people get taken advantage of really easily. It's a great league, but I just think there's a lot of things that need to be changed. It just didn't work out the way I envisioned. And but there are some interests. I've talked to a few already that are like, hey, like, why don't you come play for us this summer? And I was like, well, I'm out here, but maybe I'll come finish the season with you. So, that's the opportunity. So, I haven't played in over a year, so people, you know how it is in the sports world. You haven't played, like, oh, is she still playing? Is she doing this? Whatever. So for me, it's really just to get games under my belt. I feel stronger than ever. I've been training like a crazy person, and, the door is not closed on that, but this is allowing me to play right now and to also kind of build what's next so I can help my family. and really just take care of myself, because at my age, not having a kind of income is difficult. And if I do well this summer, and that fire is still there, which it is, I know it is, hopefully finish the summer with another team.
Because it's been so long since you've last played, a lot of people thought that you retired, but obviously that isn't the case, because this season you're going to be playing for SC Blue Heat, and had you retired, the Canadian women's national team would have honored you back in February at the bronze medal celebration match. And speaking of the Canadian women's national team, is making it back there and playing once again with that team, is that playing any factor in your motivation for wanting to continue to play?
I mean, 100%. Like, Canada has always been number one for me. Mm-hmm. I know he was moving towards the younger generation. That's why a lot of, if you look at the age groups, there's mm-hmm. really nobody besides Sinclair that's over the age of 30. Mm-hmm. So I respect that on his end. I do think I can still compete 100%. And he always asks how I'm doing, if I'm still playing, what my plan is. So he's very involved in everyone's, kind of situation. So I think for me, like, playing this summer is going to prove that I am still rocking it out and I'm stronger than ever. It's hard when you go through a big knee injury that, a lot of people are kind of like, oh, you're not the same, or are you the same, or can she even make it 100% back? So for me, it's kind of, yes, I'm back, and, I'm going to kick some butt this summer, and we'll just see what goes from there. But the team is doing phenomenal. I can't say anything about that, and I'm really proud of the younger generations that's really stepped up to the plate, and they're doing good. I mean, it's hard. You don't have another big tournament for another couple of years, so I understand his willingness to go towards that younger generation. Every team is doing that right now. It's not just Canada.
Lauren, I've always been fascinated by your career because there's been nothing generic about your journey to the top of the soccer world. You've truly had a roller coaster ride of a career. Plenty of ups, plenty of downs, plenty of highs, plenty of lows during your career. Let's recap. In the 2009 WPS draft, you were drafted in the 7th round, pick 44 overall, by the Chicago Red Stars. That was the high, but the low was you were cut before the season started. Later that year, in March of 2009, you signed with Sky Blue FC, and Sky Blue that year went all the way. They won the 2009 WPS Championship. That was the high, but the low was you only played 1 minute of one game that season. After the 2009 season, you didn't re-sign with Sky Blue FC. Instead, you signed with St. Louis Athletica, but again, you were cut before the season started, so you never played in a regular season game for St. Louis. Later that year, you were signed by the Atlanta Beat, but again, you didn't really get a lot of playing time in the 2010 season. But in the 2011 season, that's what really started the turning point of your career, because in the WPS you started to get a lot more playing time with the Atlanta Beat in year 2, and in the 2011 Women's World Cup, Canada didn't have a good showing, so they decided to go in a different direction, and they fired their old coach, and they decided to hire a new coach, and that coach was John Herdman. They brought him in, and he decided to change things up and bring in a bunch of different players, a bunch of different new players, and one of those new players that he brought in was you. And he converted you from a forward to a defender, and in the 2011 Pan American Games in Guadalajara, you started at left back in 4 of the 5 matches for Canada, and you helped the team win the gold medal in that tournament. And then the rest is history. In 2012, you were a member of the team that won a bronze medal at the Olympics. You started all 6 matches, 2 at left back and 4 at center back. You were a key contributor to that team. And that's one of the two things that I find most fascinating about your career, because for a long time you couldn't get an opportunity, no one would give you a chance, then finally you get a chance, you get a big opportunity, and you make the most out of it. So that's one thing that I find very fascinating about your career. And another thing that I find very fascinating about your career, and probably the most fascinating thing about your career, is because we've seen players use their club team to launch their national team career. We saw it recently with Kalia Ohai and Lynn Williams. They used their NWSL teams to get on to the national team, but you did the opposite. You used your national team to launch your NWSL career, because after you had played in the 2012 Olympics, everyone wanted you. Before, when you were playing in the WPS, teams were like, oh, if she's on our team, great, but if she's not on our team, that's okay too. Fast forward to after the Olympics and the creation of the NWSL, when that happened, everything changed for you. Everyone was like, we love her, we want her, we need her, we have to have her, how do we get her? With all the NWSL teams. So I find that very fascinating, how you were able to use your national team to launch your club career. So it's been very interesting on the outside watching your career over the years. But what's it been like on the inside actually living it?
It's an emotional roller coaster. I mean, you go from having an amazing college career, like you couldn't have had a better college career, and then going to the what's next and, like working for IBM. That was great, but I loved what I did, but I was not passionate. I was like, I want to play soccer so badly. So then I get drafted and like, okay, I'm on the map. People know who I am. But you find quickly in sports that it's either who you know or what school you went to, or, the crazy things that, oh, she's not well known enough for, even though I had a great college career, it doesn't matter. I was actually told that since I had never been on the national team at some point, that's the reason why I wasn't taken. And somebody else had, even though I was maybe outperforming her. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it goes. It's just the fact you hear a lot of BS, and you're it kind of like, like adds fuel to the fire, because it's like, you're like, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. And then a lot of coaches don't want to try you in different places, even if you're like, oh, why don't you try me here? Like, maybe I can do that. It's just, you have to meet the right person that's going to give you a chance. And that's what this league is, and that's what a lot of girls go through, and I don't want to make it sound like bad or anything, but it's just the reality of the situation, and that's why a lot of girls don't last in our league, and that's the problem with our league. And so for me, it was a really rough couple of years. Like, you go from playing a lot to sitting the bench to just working your butt out day in and day out, and no one giving you even 1 minute of playing time to go out there and try to show your stuff. For me, I met James Galanis, which is Carly Lloyd's mentor and coach that she's had for so long. And let me tell you, he was the best thing to ever happen to me in my career. He became the coach in Atlanta, and he was like, I'm going to reward the people who work hard. And that right there struck a chord for me, because I was always somebody that, I maybe wasn't the most technical, but I worked my butt off. If I lose the ball, I win it back, whatever. And maybe for me at that level, maybe being a forward wasn't what was right for me. And he saw that in me, and he was like, I'm going to give you a chance. So I played a lot under him, and then the league folded. And then I went to Canada, or I got picked up by Canada, and John's like, you're left-footed. He's like, you're tall, you're strong. He's like, why don't we play you at defense? And I was like, well, I'm a very defensive-minded player. Like, I've always played that way, And he's like, I'm going to put you at defense. And literally, like, it was my spot. Like, it just kind of, like, grew into it. And I was like, maybe I should have been a defender this whole time. And, when you have coaches that actually want to put the time in to mold you into a player, and they tell you every day that they believe in you, that is what makes you work harder, and that is when you're going to succeed. And having James Galanis and Coach Herdman, those two were blessings for me. And that's when my career took off. And it is like, I couldn't have asked for a better story, to go from almost quitting, like I almost gave up and like quit it all. I was told so many things, you're not good enough, you're not fast enough, you're not technical enough, like anything you could possibly imagine. I was literally cut one day and then re-signed by the same team the next day because I went out to practice and scored like a bunch of goals. And he's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. I was like, you never gave me the chance. So for me, it was just like, it was a mind game. That's what sports are. And you just have to be confident, and you just have to, like, believe in yourself. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't give up. Carly was a great mentor as well, always telling me never give up. And because of those people in my life, my career took a turn, and I was playing on the national stage, and that is just the most phenomenal feeling ever. And we won a gold medal our first year in the national team, so that was incredible.
Some people would look at your career because you joined the national team later. I mean, obviously, you've touched on a little bit. All these teams keep getting younger and younger. We have 17-year-olds playing on the national team, and you didn't get your shot on a national team until you were 26. So some people would look at your career and say, well, she was probably a late bloomer. But I look at your career, and I know you're a fan of the NFL, so you'll understand the comparison. I don't view you as a late bloomer. You're like the Kurt Warner of women's soccer, because if you look at his story and if you look at your story, there are a lot of similarities. Kurt Warner, he came from a small school. Purdue isn't a small school, but had you done what you did there, which was rewrite the record books, you set 6 school records for points, goals, assists, game-winning goals, multiple goal games, and shots on goal registered. So had you done that at, let's say, North Carolina or Stanford, you would be considered right now one of the best college players ever. But since you did it at a, quote, small school, you were being overlooked. So you were being overlooked. Kurt, he was being overlooked because he was cut by your Green Bay Packers before he ever played in a real game for them. And you'd been cut a few times before ever suiting up for that particular team in the WPS that you were in training camp with. So those are 2 quick similarities right there. And then there's the similarity of, at one point in time, he was working at a grocery store and then on the side playing arena football. You were working a regular job. You were working at IBM and playing semi-pro on the side for FC Indiana, because at that point in time the WPS hadn't been created yet. So there's that similarity. You both were having great success at a low level, because at that point in time the only high level you could have been playing at was at the national team level, but you were being overlooked. And Kurt, he was not able to make a roster in the NFL, which would have been his highest level of playing. So there's that similarity also. Then there's the similarity of, you guys both came out of nowhere to do it. Kurt Warner no one thought when he filled in for Trent Green that he was going to take them to the Super Bowl and win it. A lot of people thought, maybe with him they win probably 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 games max, and that would be it, and then they would cut him after that season, and then we'd never see or hear from him again. On your side of the fence, when the 2011 Women's World Cup was taking place, no one thought, well, next year at the Olympics, there's going to be this Lauren Sesselmann girl, and she's going to play and help the team win a bronze medal. No one was thinking that you were going to be on that team, and no one was thinking that Canada would medal at that Olympics. So there's that similarity also. When you finally get your opportunity, here you are, you're a key player helping this team win the bronze medal, doing something that they had never done before, and here's Kurt Warner. He's contributing and playing great with the St. Louis Rams, and he does something that they've never done before, which is get to the Super Bowl and win it. So there's that similarity also, and it wasn't a one-hit wonder. Kurt Warner, he had a great career. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He did great after getting the Rams to the Super Bowl. And you weren't a one-hit wonder because you won multiple medals You were second 11 in 2013 in the NWSL. You should have probably been best 11 for that year, but I think people got scared away because there were already 2 FC Kansas City players on the best 11, so I think that's why you got snubbed and they put you on second 11, but you had a great run after that initial run at the 2012 Olympics. So there's so many similarities between you and Kurt Warner's story. That's why I call you the Kurt Warner of women's soccer. So I think that you're not a late bloomer, you're just someone who didn't get that opportunity until later in your career. But what do you think? Do you think you're the Kurt Warner of women's soccer where you just weren't getting that opportunity? You always had the talent, but you just weren't getting a chance to show it? Or do you think you were a late bloomer where at certain points during your career your skills could have been better? What do you think? Do you think you're a late bloomer, or do you think you're the Kurt Warner of women's soccer?
I think it was just the opportunity because I never even got a chance to go on the field and prove what I could do. And I think that's the problem with a lot of the coaches. They're not giving people the opportunities they're super talented, but they're just like, no, we want this name. We want this name because she was here before. She's well known, because they want to bring in the fans, which I understand that side of it. And that's actually what I've been told once, that it was like, we need to bring people in, we need to use the name, so that's why we're going to let you go. And I was like appalled that someone said that to me, but I understand it. But sports is about what you put, the effort you put in, the talent you put out there. I was like, the people will come if we're winning. And I guess I just never understood that mentality. I think that's why some things need to be better. And, you know, the league is getting better. I will admit that. It is getting better. But you have so many talented players that are under the radar that people just don't give the opportunity to, you know. I would say it'd be the Kurt Warner. And, you know, I think I always had the talent because I always believed in myself. And once I got the opportunity from Coach Herdman, then it was just like, oh, I actually believed in myself more, because there was a point where I'm like, maybe I'm just not talented enough, you know? And it's like, okay, but I was always the one that was putting effort in more before practice, after practice, doing the extra stuff because I wanted to prove to them how bad I wanted it.
How satisfying was it to win the bronze medal at the 2012 Olympics, having to go through everything you went through, and a lot of people doubted you, a lot of people didn't expect you to be on the world stage, and here you are as a key contributor on that team that won the bronze medal, and we'll get more into that a little bit later, but what was that like going through that? Is that the best moment of your career?
Honestly, like, I couldn't stop crying, and like having my parents, like, you know, just like seeing the flag rise, just like thinking about everything like back in my mind, and it's like, hey, you did it. Like, no one believed in you except for a few people, and you did it. Is like literally the best feeling ever. And all those people that didn't believe in me when I was playing, they actually called me after and they said, wow, we're sorry that we didn't give you that chance. Every single coach. So for me, that was so satisfying, because it was like, look, I did it on my own, you know, with the help of some people. I did it, and it's like, heck yes, you know, like I deserve every bit of this.
At the beginning of your career, you were a forward and a goal-scoring machine at Purdue, but in recent years, you've been a defender, and in my opinion, the best play that you ever made in your entire soccer career happened at the 2012 Olympics in the group stage against Japan when you robbed Yuki Ojimi of a goal. And it was a fantastic play because you came out of nowhere. Erin McLeod came off her line. There was no one between Ojimi and the goal, and you came out of nowhere and kicked the ball away. It's a fantastic play and a very important play, not only in that game, because in that game, had Ojimi scored, it would have been over for Canada, and it would have been 3-0, and at that point in the game, Canada wouldn't have had any time to try to make a comeback. So had she scored right then and there, the game would have been over. So you kept the team in the game. But in the bigger picture, because you stopped that goal and because Canada was able to get another goal and the final score was 2-1, you were able to help Canada advance from the group stage to the knockout stage because of the goal differential. Had that one goal went in, and it had been 3-1 or 3-0, Canada wouldn't have been able to advance out of the group stage. So it was a big play in the game itself, but an even bigger play in the entire outlook of the tournament, because had Canada not gotten out of the group stage, we would have never gotten the great Canada-US game, and Canada would have never won the bronze medal. So that's a very important play. So that's why I say it's the best play of your entire career. But my question to you is, what's the better feeling, scoring a goal or robbing someone of scoring a goal?
What's the saying? Defense wins championships.
Yeah.
So that's always, I guess. I really, at first I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about playing defense, because I was like, oh man, I don't get to score goals. But it's so satisfying to slide tackle somebody or save a goal. All that stuff. It's just that feeling you get that it was like, oh my gosh, you just saved this game for us. Like that goal I saved for Japan put us through to the next round. So when the coach told me that that's what doing that is what happened, I was like, oh my gosh, like I helped us, It's just really cool to do that. And I love winning headers. I love tackling. That's just the kind of player I am. So for me, I really embraced that role as a defender. I loved it.
A former teammate and coach of yours, Christy Pierce, she played both soccer and basketball when she was at Monmouth. You were a great high school basketball player, and you could have played basketball and soccer at Purdue. Why exactly didn't you play both sports? Is it because you thought you had more of a future in soccer? Is it because the coaches wanted you to pick one or the other? Or is it just simply there wasn't enough time? Why exactly didn't you play both soccer and basketball?
I wanted to play basketball as well, but then I was like, there's so much work that goes into playing, soccer, and we were playing year-round, and it was just, I think it would have been a lot on my body, and I regret not playing basketball, to be honest, but we actually had a really cool little fun team that we were, all the soccer girls, because majority of soccer girls would play basketball, so we made like a little league, and we would play against all these other teams, and we actually won it. Like, the volleyball had a team, everybody had a team, so for us, that was fun, and we got our basketball fix, but I kind of wish I would have played both, but, I kind of, at that level, I needed to figure out if I wanted to play professionally. I think I needed to focus on soccer, so that's why I chose that.
During your career, you've worn number 4, 5, 10, 14, 16, 20, 21, 22, 24, and I'm sure others that I'm forgetting, but do you have a favorite number?
4 and 10. I'm weird. I like even numbers. It's like this thing. Everything always has to be an even number. And I guess, because with Canada, all the people that are in and out with it, there was always so many different numbers that weren't being used because a lot of people had set numbers. So I had to wait till I could have a set number, and that's how I got to be number 10. So I loved rocking number 10. Obviously, the best, days of my life rocking that number. But 4 was definitely my favorite number. That's initially what I wanted, but Carm had it, so 10 was a great number as well.
Sessie, El Sizzle, Bone Crusher. How many nicknames do you have?
Lolo, but those are probably all of them, yeah. Bone Crusher, Desi and I have that. Destroyer and Bone Crusher. We used to make all those fun videos. But yeah, people call me Sessie a lot, or Sess.
How close are we to getting a Bone Crusher and Destroyer rap album?
Pretty close. No, that's definitely something we just love to do. We always we made something for the Olympics too, music video. We always had so much fun together. She's one of my best friends. So that's what I miss the most about not playing right now is the friendships I had. Her and Adriana Leon, my two best friends, Chanel Polino. Those are my, just the girls you get to meet. It's just, they're with you for life. And I think that's really cool. They're your sisters. They're your second family. So, I definitely miss Des and Tess.
That's motivation enough to get back there so we can have more of those videos. That's why I'm rooting for you to get back there so we can have more. We need more of this. It was always so much fun. I know you love to write, so do you see yourself writing a book in the future?
Well, actually, yeah, I've already been writing. I already have a name picked out, all that stuff. So it's just a matter of finishing that with all the other things I'm doing. And I actually have a children's book series, too, I want to write. So I told you I have a very creative mindset. It's just I have too many ideas. I need to focus on one at a time. But, yeah, I feel like my story isn't done yet for what I want to have in the book. So I think in the next year or two it will be released.
You stole my next question, because my next question was going to be, are you going down the Abby Wambach, Carly Lloyd, Hope Solo route of having a life story published, or are you going down the Alex Morgan, because she has those books, they're like kind of sort of based on her life, but they're used in a fictional tale, so you're doing both. So
yeah, there's both. Yep.
After the Olympics in 2012, you coached women's soccer at UW Green Bay, because the WPS had folded and the NWSL hadn't started yet. So in the fall of 2012, you were an assistant coach. What was that experience like?
That was fun. You know, I always love giving back as much as I can, and I went to a lot of their practices and was there as much as I could be. You know, they're a great team, and so for me to be able to go back, play with the girls, kind of, you know, coach them, mentor them a little bit. There was a lot of Canadians on the team, too, so it was great for them, too, to be able to play alongside me, and we would always talk about a bunch of stuff in Canada, and I had a great time. You know, Green Bay obviously holds a special place in my heart, and I miss it. My parents want me to come back, like, every day.
How is Earn Dog? How's he doing?
Oh, Earn Dog. Well, he does not like me being out in LA, but I said, Dad, you know, this girl's got to grow up, so, but yeah, he's good.
You love making a difference, motivating others, helping people achieve their goals, being a role model, and empowering the next generation. And I know you've been someone who in the past, people have reached out to you through social media with questions, and, you know, maybe a young player has reached out to you and said, you know, I have this problem, or I'd like advice in this place, and you've been someone who said, oh, you know, hey, let's jump on Skype. You know, let's talk it out over there. I'll answer all your questions, and we'll do it that way. So are you mentoring any kids right now, whether it's weekly, every once in a while, regardless of how it is? Are you working with any of the youth? I know you have your camps, but, you know, as a mentor, are you working with anyone?
Yeah, I mean, there's not anybody in, like, particular, but I get a lot of messages. So when kids, I give my email out to people, because if a kid's really passionate and they really want, you know, some help and some stuff that maybe they weren't at the camp able to ask a question that they wanted to ask, I'm always like, hey, I'm always open to talk, because I find, especially at the age of, like, 12, 13, in that range, kids really, like, hold things in, and there's a lot of things they want to say, but they don't want to say it to their parents or to their friends or to their coaches. So, you know, I had one little girl, she wrote to me, and she's like, hey, I'm having a really tough time at practice. I just don't think I'm getting better. I'm losing my confidence. Like, you know, what should I do? And so I wrote her back, and then I was like, let's get on Skype. Like, why don't you just kind of talk about your feelings with me? And, you know, because I've come in contact with some coaches that I think should be better at how they talk to some people, talk to the kids. There's some phenomenal coaches out there, but I have seen some where I don't think they talk to the kids in the right manner, especially at that age where they're so, like, vulnerable. And they shouldn't be telling them they're horrible players or something like that, you know? And so for me to be able to talk with them when they come to me and then they're crying or whatever, and they're like, maybe this isn't for me and whatever, I'm like, how bad do you want it? You know, if you want it, don't let anybody tell you that you can't have it. You know, and that's why I really like to talk about how my journey was, because the amount of times that I was cut and the amount of times, you know, that I was on a team, whatever, the things I went through, people can relate to that. So I think that's why it's so good to share your story and to be able to be open, you know. And what's great about a lot of my teammates, too, they're very open and receptive to people, so they will give out their info to talk. Some athletes don't, and that's fine. But I feel like to really help and make a difference, it's be able to open yourself up to players and to really be able to talk to them and connect with them on a one-on-one level.
Lauren, I should have done a better job earlier when I was doing the intro, because you're much more than just someone who won a bronze medal at the Olympics. Besides being an athlete, you're an actress, a model, an entrepreneur, a trainer, a coach, a mentor. You do so many different things. You wear so many different hats. But of the hats that you wear, do you have a favorite?
My favorite. I guess, first and foremost, it would definitely be the soccer hat, because my whole thing behind everything that I do is being an inspiration and a role model to our next generation. Like, that is first and foremost me. Mentor, role model, inspiration, soccer player. And that's why I love doing my camps that I do across the world. I love doing, coaching and stuff. And that hat is never going to be gone. So I would say that's me definitely first.
Do you have any hobbies?
Hobbies. I like to go to Barnes & Nobles and read. I'm a really big nerd. Yeah, I like to go shopping for shoes, even though I probably shouldn't say that if my dad hears that. I'm a big sneakerhead. I love that. But yeah, like reading, and I don't get a lot of downtime. So for me to sit and watch like maybe a movie, or I go to the movies a lot by myself. I know that's weird, but like I don't mind doing that. Yeah, so I guess those are my top hobbies. Or going to play like tennis, golf, or basketball.
Favorite food?
Favorite food? I love hamburgers and pizza. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest, so anything with cheese on it, but obviously my diet's a little restricted, but I still indulge when possible.
Do you still love the restaurant, The Keg?
The Keg! Yes, that was Desi's, and that was our go-to. Yeah, I love steak and bread. I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
So.
I'm from Michigan, so I go to the one in Windsor, and they have the best bread.
Oh, nice.
Amazing bread. The bacon-wrapped scallops they have there are amazing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, amazing. And they have, like, this brownie sundae thing. Oh, my God.
Yes, that's I'm such a foodie, so, like, that's, especially when I'm out here in LA, I want to try, like, all these different restaurants. Mm-hmm. That's why I train so hard, so I can eat like that.
Yeah. What a great restaurant. Great place. Haven't been there in a long time, but amazing, amazing. Now, I heard you bake a mean chocolate chip cookie, so tell me about these cookies.
Oh, yeah, this is very true. Like, I was the go-to on every team that I was on to make dessert. So I eat mostly the dough. I don't actually eat the cookies, so that's why I like to just make the cookie dough.
Favorite band and or solo artist?
Oh, that is a good one. Favorite band or solo artist? Well, I used to really love Rascal Flatts. Like, I'm a Midwestern girl, grew up in the country. So country music was always something I really loved. Solo artist. I love Josh Groban. I don't know if you're familiar with Josh Groban, but I think his voice is phenomenal. It's more like classical, and then obviously I like the typical like Rihanna and R&B and stuff like that.
Favorite TV show, and it can be a show currently on the air or a show no longer on the air, just overall favorite TV show.
Favorite TV show would have to be, okay, I'm like really into comedies, like, so I love like Modern Family, but also there's this new show called The Mick, and then there's also this TV show called Schitt's Creek, and literally if you want to laugh, you have to download The Mick and Schitt's Creek, because I've never laughed so hard on a TV show than I have with those two.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. If you could trade places with anyone in the world for a week, who would you trade places with and why?
I would have to say like another athlete, but I know I should probably say something else, but like Kobe Bryant. I just think Kobe Bryant is so cool. And I love basketball, and he is also a soccer player too, and he's also a businessman and entrepreneur, so I respect him wholeheartedly, but I think it'd be cool to trade places with him one day.
If you could stay one age forever, how old would you stay and why?
Ooh, 28. I think 28, 30 are perfect ages. You're not too young. You're not too old. The wrinkles haven't started to form yet on your face. I just think those are good quality ages. So,
person you look up to the most?
Definitely my father. I mean, him and I have like this really, really special bond. So I listen to pretty much everything he says to me, and I've just always had this special connection with him. So definitely him.
What do you worry about? What's something that keeps you up at night?
Money. I know that's not the best thing, but money is one of them. Just, I guess, being able to provide for my family is a huge thing for me. So it's just making sure I'm, kind of going the right path with my career, and it's going to pay off in the long run, because I know I'm doing a lot of things right now, but I want to make sure I'm doing it for the right reasons, and I can take care of my family through that and the future family that I want to have. And also my dad's help. So I always think about him because I actually saved his life through one of my dreams one time. I know that sounds really weird, but I was having a dream that he got injured, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I saved his life at 3 a.m. He was having a heart attack.
Yeah, I've heard that one before. Crazy story.
But, so I worry about him a lot.
Go-to song when you're singing in the shower.
Oh, go-to song. Oh, man. I like to sing the Star Spangled Banner. It's really weird, but I used to sing it for, like, a lot of my basketball games. So I love singing that, and I love singing Disney music. I know that's so weird, but any Disney song, you'll find me singing that in the shower.
What's your pet peeve?
Oh, my gosh. My pet peeve would have to be people chewing with their mouth open. It's a big one.
Time period you'd like to go back and visit, and why?
Oh, wow. Maybe the 90s? I don't know why, but this had really good music back then. You know, when Britney was still, like, when she was starting out, you know, in sync. So just great music, but, the 90s, I guess.
What's the best thing that ever happened to you?
Winning an Olympic medal, definitely, hands down.
What's the worst thing that ever happened to you?
Flipping on the ball at the World Cup. Yeah, I mean, I know that there's probably other things you could say, but for me, that was probably the lowest low of my life, when people are telling you that you ruined everything from one play, even though, you know, we should have scored some goals, and it just was unfortunate, unlucky that I fell. You know, things happen. People were falling nonstop left and right in the games because they watered the turf, and you know, it was literally the lowest low. I was getting death threats. I was severely depressed after that game. Like, I felt like it was all my fault. Obviously, it's not one person's fault, but when Canada puts that on your back, and people are saying that are not, like, they're bandwagoners, and they don't really understand the game of soccer, and they blame everything on you, and that was the last game you played in. Like, it was a rough year for me last year, we'll just say that. And then because I was so sad after, I couldn't talk to the press because I literally was, like, nonstop crying, and the press was like, she's a horrible person, she wouldn't even talk to us, and called me all these names, and I was like, you literally are blaming the game on me, like, I can't talk to you right now. So that was probably definitely something I think about day in and day out, and that's kind of the reason why I wanted to play this summer, too, just to be like, that's not the way I'm ending my career. You go from, like, helping the team win the bronze medal, and, like, people, like, being like, Sesselmann, you did so great, you were a huge part of this, to being like, oh, you're horrible. And I'm like, I don't know how you can go from one extreme to another, but that's just, that's the way sports are, and it sucks.
Some people are afraid of spiders, some people are afraid of heights, some people are afraid of the dark. What are you afraid of?
Heights definitely is my thing. Like, even when I'm in the elevator and they have, like, the glass, you can see I have to be, like, close to the door. I can't look over the edge on anything. Like, heights is definitely number one.
Number one thing on your bucket list?
Number one thing on my bucket list would be to go to Italy. I just always wanted to go to Italy. What's
your hidden talent?
My hidden talent? Well, I don't know if it's hidden because some people know, but I can talk like Barney the Purple Dinosaur.
Okay, let's hear it.
I don't know. Okay. I love you. Hi, boys and girls. I love you. You love me. Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. It's probably something I shouldn't admit, but...
No, that was amazing. That was fantastic. Maybe some voice acting is in your future. That was incredible. I can't believe that was you. That was amazing. Lauren, last question. If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change and why?
Oh gosh, that is a great question. Gosh, there's so many things I would change. I guess a big thing would be better education in some places, but also, especially like being in the sports, is being able to give different countries or different communities a place to play sports, because I think, and that's something I've been really passionate about, and I would love to start my own foundation to help that, because sports kept me out of a lot of trouble, and I think that there's just some people who, aren't able to have that luxury, and I think that's something that would be a big thing on mine. Just helping kids through sport and teaching them about sports and the things that they can learn from sports. So there's a lot of things I would change other than just sports related, but I think for me to say that, probably a big thing.
Lauren, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for everything.